His personal experience of how he went through family court. They took his daughter, right? And he got his daughter back by going into the court and telling them, I'm here by special appearance, not general appearance. And they said, what's your name? He said, I haven't got a name, but you can refer to me as Dane, right? Why are you interfering with my private property? The kids, right, if you want to put them that, your sons and daughters, they are private property, your private property. I've always said this, all right? Now, he proved it there. Obviously, if anyone's ever been in a court situation in that way, right, when they come in and they want you to stand up, you wouldn't stand up, right? So they get very angry and it's a bit very aggressive towards you. So I don't know if you did that, right? Right. So, and then Dane just said to them, he says, well, do I have to stand up? Is there a law that says I have to stand up? Well, of course not. Oh, well, I'll just sit here then. You know? So he's always asking questions, right? He never ever answered anything. And he won. He got his daughter back. And she's back home with him now. So, you know, it can be done. And has anyone ever heard of Carl Lentz? Right? So he actually did like interviews, like private, like, you know, training with Carl Lentz, because this is basically where he was trained how to do this and how to talk like that. So, you know, and again, I do a lot of like training like that, and that's how I've got like friends with Dane, by going over it for him. So I was supposed to do an interview with him a couple of weeks ago, but I had to get postponed. I am going to do it like quite soon as well. And that'll go out on the YouTube channel, Return to True Democracy. And he'll be explaining it, and then you can watch that, and he'll plug his book, so you can buy his book, right? And then it's actually how to do it properly, going through court, and how he did it. It's just telling his story, okay? But one thing I do want to say, if I could give everybody here like some fake currency, say £500 or £1,000, would you want it? No. No?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm taking gold.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So, I mentioned it earlier on there, talking about GDPR and the power of GDPR and how really strong it is, and if you can use it correctly and learn how to use it correctly on so many different areas, all right? A really good one is on facial recognition and also on supermarkets, all right? So I try very, very hard not to go into supermarkets, but when you're going to go in there, who goes into supermarkets and then you see this great big camera up there and there you are, walking in? Who gave them consent for that? Who consented? So when you're going in there now, not only do they actually make you work for them, so you go to the till and you have to scan it all, you're not getting paid for that, are you? So all these people have lost jobs on the till, so you can do it, and not only that, but they've got a big picture of you doing it as well. Who consented to that? Alright, so this is all data harvesting that they're taking all the time without your consent. So under Article 6 on GDPR, they need your unambiguous consent. Not just your consent, unambiguous. So what does that mean? Well, it can't be used for anything other than what they've fully explained. And has anyone ever been explained why they're taking that data? That's your private, personal data when you're walking into any shop or even a big shopping centre, what they call a mall, right? And we know this because we tested this. The guy walked into the mall. You can do an SAR, Subject Access Request. Some people will call it a DSOR, Data Subject Access Request. Same thing, doesn't matter, all right? But you can do it in writing or verbally, okay? So verbally, what you do is you can go up to the security desk and you just say, I want that data that you've just took. So you've took my data on that camera and I'm requesting it. All the data that you've took from me, I'm requesting that. Under Article 15 of GDPR. Okay? So on the test that we did, we got the security manager, it took about half an hour, blah, 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 and he said, no, you can't have it. You're not having it. There's no law that states that we have to give you that data. So the response was, are you refusing me my data? So the guy very proudly went, yes. I'm refusing you. You have to leave. All right, so there was the claim immediately. That is an SER. That is a verbal SER, but it is very, very clear. You can do it in writing or verbally. So he's refused that request, which cost them £1,000, and they had to retrain the entire shopping centre security staff on how to treat people and how to work for GDPR. So when anybody is ever requested for the data, verbally or in writing, they have to do it. And they've got 30 days to comply with full compliance. That is their legal duty. Remember, this is us putting it on them. We haven't got that legal duty. But if we're going to be doing that, so let's look at it like on a facial recognition. So on the two sides, not only on the, talking about on the street, where they're using the cameras, but I mean, who likes or enjoys going in? I mean, I hate supermarkets anyway, but who enjoys going into there and seeing a big picture there, and then taking all that data, and then you're sitting there like, and you're trying to like scan your, usually if it's me, some beer and crisps, right? And they're taking your image. So like, you know, I try very hard to stay away from them, but then what I do is like, I've got the bag, and I put the bag over the camera. So I did this like not long ago, and you know, the woman come and she just ripped the bag off, started walking off. I went, oh, that's my bag. So like, she gave us the bag back, and I could see them all like little children. I don't mean that disrespectfully to children, but they were like pointing like that, and then you're like walking out there, and I could see like the security guard trying to struggle off his stool, right? And then I thought, there's something going to happen here, like, so come over, and I just said straight, I said, well, have you got, he said, why do you put that on there? Don't do that again. We need that for security. Okay, so I just said, well, have you got my consent then? Because that's like, you know, you need my consent under Article 6 of GDPR. And then, you had a heart attack, and then started screaming and shouting, and just, look, if you don't like it, get out and don't come back. I thought, I mean, I was in a hurry at the time. I was just like laughing. I had to laugh at him and walk away. But that there, I could have easily put the claim in. Now, I'm not running after money, right? But what I want is to get rid of all them cameras, or get rid of as many cameras as possible. So how many people are in here roughly? About what? About 70? Yeah. All right. So if everybody in here, do you all live in Perth? All right. But imagine, you could do it here though, right? You could actually walk out now. I don't know what time it is if they're open. If we all did it and went in a queue, right? And queued up, and one at a time, and went to the security desk, and it says, I requested my data that you just took on that camera there. And you wave at the camera and say, that one, look, see? Right? So if you all did it, and even if they went, okay, well, we'll get you the data. He got, by the way, when we did the test, not only did he get the conversation, but he got all of the video footage of everywhere where he'd walked in the whole shopping mall. It wasn't a shop, it was a shopping mall. So I'm talking about from, I don't know how big it is, like the one in Gateshead's huge. So we walked from one end of it all the way through to the other. He got every single bit of video footage. And not only that, but somebody had the ball ache to have to go and dull out everyone else's faces. Because he could only show his own face. Because then that would have been a breach of GDPR again. Right? So isn't that a pain in the arse? So can you imagine if we all queued up now, and one after the other, or if you're in your area, because you're doing groups like this, you've all got groups like this, I've heard people say that they're in groups, all sorts of different groups. So if you could get, say, 100 of you in your town, so right, let's go, fuck Asda off now, right? And you all went to Asda, hour after that, so you go in, an hour later I'm going in, an hour later she's going, there's 10 of you go in that day, 10 of you the next day for 7 days, and then you got another set of people to do it, doing it that for the month. And every single one of you put in an SER requesting your data, right? And do you think they'd be able to cope with that? Right, they're going to have to get people there, not only to dull out all the faces on the cameras, but they'll have to get all of that data. They are legally obliged to do it. Okay? How long do you think that would be before them cameras took out? How long do you think it would be before they went, you know what, we can't do this, right? We're either going to be having all these people that are doing the administration of having to get all this data to all these pains in the arses, And, right, because we can't do it on time, we've actually paid out. Imagine you were paying that £1,000 for every claim, and there's 10 of you doing it a week. Right? How long are they going to keep paying it before they go, we've got to stop? It's a good way of protesting, right? Without having to go and get arrested for nicking a gingerbread man out of Greggs. Right? Or tripping over the weed bin that you're trying to push at a policeman, so you're going to get 3 years in prison. Just go and ask for your data. That is going to have a massive effect. All you've got to do is just get like your groups like this, organise it and do that. And go in and do it just to one supermarket. And then once you've done it to one supermarket, 1 month, do it to the next one. Right? You could just keep going back time and time and time again. That is going to have a massive effect. And then you could also do that with facial recognition. Right, going up to because they're trying it in the vans now, aren't they? And then they go and put like all these goons around the van to stop you spying in to see what kind of like equipment that they've got in, because it's all super secret, right? But if you just went there, I want my data. I need that data that you've actually took, right? That is how to use GDPR in a very powerful way. Doesn't take a lot of effort, right? But then you can, fair enough. It's good if you get a few quid out of it, right? But it's going to hurt them in such a way where they're going to have to make reactions, and the reaction will be, we have to stop these cameras. And the knock-on effect is, maybe they'll stop putting them on these stupid self-service tills, making you work for them for free, and other people will get more jobs as well. It's a win-win, isn't it? Yeah?
Do you have to give them your address? How do you get it?
Well, you'll have to give them your address because you're going to be wanting to claim for them and then for them to send you your data.
Right.
So you're going to be going in saying, that you took my data, so I want that data.
So could you use a PO box address?
Well, you can if you like. Just or use like I always use a ghost mail address. You know, whatever it is, so I've always got an address that we'll actually give to somebody. Yeah, you want a question?
Yeah, can you go in day after day after day and ask every day?
Yeah, but just get a big groupie to do it.
You've done it again, it's still on.
Yeah, just keep, yeah, you could do it. You could go in every day, so I want this data as well. I want that data as well. You know, like, oh, come back, I forgot my chips, I want this data as well.
You do a DSAT for any of the courts, or any of the police, or anything like that. They want you to fill a form in.
Say that again.
When you do one against the courts, right, to get your DSAT, they want you to fill a form in, so that they're no breaching the data protection. So you've got to ask them for permission to get all the stuff that you've got in it. So they send your form in, and they don't give you any other way apart from filling this form in.
Okay, I'd have to have a look at the forms. I've never ever seen one of them before.
Well,
but any time that I've ever done an SCR, right, like on anything, they've got 30 days to fully comply, and they're not allowed to go and put like objections in front of you. The biggest thing that they can do is ask, which is stupid, and it is, but like ID for like who you are. So we prove who you are.
No,
I wouldn't be asking for it if I wasn't being good at it.
I've already done it. They sent the form in and asked what I was actually specifically wanting.
I'd have to see the form to be able to comment on it, but like, you know, they're not supposed to put any objections in front. If you ask for that your data, everything that they have on you, okay, then like they are what's called processing. So any data they're processing on you, then they should be able to give that full compliance, full disclosure within 30 days, and then you can claim, because it's a breach. It's a breach of data by concealment, by not giving it. So if they refuse to give it, for say for instance the supermarket, just so you know, right, like obviously the guy refused, right, a refusal to give the data, so we claimed immediately. That's a breach. You don't need anything else, right? But like if this says, right, okay, we'll do it, and then you send that in, and you like if you've done it there verbally, but you can also send it in writing to the manager, they've got that 30 days to actually comply. If they don't do it in that 30 days, that's a breach. It's a breach. You know, you don't say, oh, now I've forgotten about it, so I'm not going to claim. You can put your claim in immediately then, because they've breached your data, and if they haven't done it properly in that 30 days, that's job done, it's finished, game over. You can then put your claim in. I mean, when we're doing it with debt scenarios, we always give them like more chances, because we call it pre-action protocols, where we do letter before action, blah, 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 and go on. Yeah?
Who are you making the claim to?
The shop. Asda Limited, you know, the supermarket, it's the company, it's the corporation.
If they refuse to give you the data, what if they just ignore your claim?
How can it? How can it? What happens if you ignore something, right? So, like, if your council tax or whatever it is, or you get the warrant come through, you totally ignore it. What do they do then at the office? Right? They go and do the liability order, don't they? And then, right, on other ones, if you ignore the debts and stuff like that, what they do a default judgment against you, don't they? Right? Well, you're going to do the same. So you send them the SER. How can they ignore your claim? What would that really mean? So what you're going to do is you're going to send in, let's do the scenario with like the supermarket. So we did it verbally, right? So what they said, they refused it straight away. So we put in the claim to the head office, right? And then after that, we actually file it at the court. We file it at the court. We go to the court. So we actually send in the SER to the head office, right? And we're going to say, look, you know, you're breaching our data. It's been refused on here. We want compensation for the anxiety, distress, and inconvenience of dealing with this. And then, if see what comes back off them, they'll try and maybe settle it, or maybe not, or maybe just ignore you, whichever. It's great. Ignoring is fantastic, because then you can go to the court and file an M1. So you file an M1, which will cost you £205 if it's below 5,000 that you're claiming back. Right? And again, it's for extreme anxiety, distress, and the inconvenience of dealing with the situation. So once you've actually filed that, are they going to turn up to fight it? They have 30 days to reply. So if they haven't complied fully compliantly with the spirit as well as the actual wording of the GDPR in Article 15, then that is your claim. You can put that in. It's by concealment. They haven't given you your data you're requesting. So if they haven't done it and you put your claim in, they can either fight it and say, well, we did, or show us it then. But can't, can it? Because they haven't done it. So they're probably just going to ignore it, so you're going to get a default judgment. So once you get the default judgment, so now you've got, like, just claimed £1,000, albeit if it was a debt when we were going for 5,000, so then we fill in the N244 to move it up to the High Court. So once you get in the why would you go to the High Court? Because they have High Court enforcement officers. Bailiffs that can then get sent to collect the money, which, like, you know, one of the guys that I do a lot of training with, a lot of studying with, he shut the council down, right? Sent the High Court enforcement officers in to collect the debt on the council. Council laughed, he shut the office down, said, but all these computers. So they wrote the check out, £18,000, there you go, off you go. So all you're doing, you're using, this is like what I'm saying, you have to learn how to use your chess piece. So Checkmate the Matrix. You want to check that website out, checkmatethematrix.com. Alright? Yeah. Okay, yeah?
Does GDPR also apply to these ring cameras?
A ring camera?
Yeah.
Oh, is that a doorbell thing?
Yeah, if a neighbour's got it on. And
it actually is, yeah. You've got to be very careful.
Garden,
yeah, so if you've got your own as well, you've got to be careful where it's pointing.
I don't have one, I don't agree with them, but, but I know that I've been captured on, well, every time I go out my front door, basically, I'm getting captured on this because it's coming into my garden, and I don't agree with it because I don't want tracked and traced every time I'm going out my front door, so I'm just wondering if I could...
If you want to get into a fight with your neighbours, you can put in a claim against them, you can write them an SCR.
Oh, really?
Of course you can.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Quite happy to get in a fight with them.
I'm sure it's a TV programme in that one.
You're not giving your permission and they've captured your biometric data. By giving them the data, you want it erased. You want them to completely remove it from their system.
Yeah, the right to be forgotten.
So does that have, by saying give me my data, do they have to prove that?
But then you can request them to do that as well at the same time. Right to be forgotten.
Yeah. The police station.
I think you can. Yeah. And you could also do it at the anywhere where you want to piss them off. Go to the doctors, go to the hospitals. Yeah? You know, anything like that you walk in and they're taking your images. This is what we should be doing. So you should be like organising groups now to go out and do that in the supermarkets, in the hospitals, in the doctor's surgeries, all these places that they think they can do anything they want to you without your consent. Yeah?
Peter, can I just add something? Another string to your bow is a report to Information Commissioner's Office. if you get a what do you call it, a finding in your favour, you can run that, take that to the bank. That's an automatic judgment at the county court. Okay, and then the Information Commissioner's Office will tell the company to delete the data, so you can bring in ICO. So they are an extra string to you back.
Yeah.
So whenever I did research at Glasgow City Council, I'd actually gone after the data protection officer, the head of the CEO and the head of the council, and the lawyer got back to me and said, you need to change this. So it says Glasgow City Council. I said, why do I want to do that? Because the CEO has actually left now. And I said, why would I want to do that? Because if they've been responsible for doing something like murder, like harm somebody, would you want me to change that to Glasgow City Council? You've gone after the girl, you've gone after that man or woman. And so that was 3 months ago. I said that. I've no response back. Yeah.
You see, the thing is, like I said, that is really good, and I think I would encourage everybody to do that, you know, and actually go out or get groups and go and do it properly organised to these supermarkets and to these places like that. So the whole process, what you would do, let's just say you're going to do it in writing. So you're going to give them the first SER, which you're going to give them 30 days. They have 30 days to reply, right in full with compliance to supply you with your data. So they're going to have to send you the video, right? And you can ask them to remove it as well, so the right to be forgotten. So if they don't do it in the 30 days, then you can send a second SAR. So this is like a reminder. At the same time, say, well, you know, we're really upset that you have not complied to your legal duty under GDPR Article 15 of supplying me the data. We're going to give you a further 7 days, but I'm also complaining to the ICO. So that's when I'd write straight to the ICO. You go on ICO, complain, just put it in a search engine, it'll come straight up. It's not hard, all right? You can go through it. But then as soon as you've done that, then what you're going to do, you don't wait for a reply for the ICO. A lot of the times they don't even bother replying. So you put it in writing though, you've done the actual claim, sorry, you've done the complaint to the ICO, then you send them a letter before action. Okay, some people call it a letter before claim, others call it a notice, it doesn't matter, it's the same thing, right? Lawyers or solicitors, I've seen a lot, I've got a lot from them, and they always call it a letter before action. You send them that, and that is, look, if you do not send us this, you've already done twice there that you haven't actually given me the data we've requested. You've got 7 more days, and then I'm going to start legal proceedings. Now, this is pre-action protocols. If you get the big green book and you read through it, it tells you what you have to do, all right? Which is very good for when you're trying to defend, right, your debts as well. So, say, like, you know, if you get a summons from the debt collector that they've bought your debt that they said they had, it doesn't exist, all right? And if you're up here, make sure that you file it for a court in England as well. Don't file it in Scotland because you don't need a deed of assignment in Scotland. So if you're fighting a debt, right, and they're actually coming after you, make sure you file it for a court in England, which is where the companies will be from, by the way, as well. Or if they're doing business, you're completely right to do it. You don't worry about that, all right? But I mean, that is one thing, because you're in the public, we are fighting in the public with GDPR, you're using their rules, but in Scotland, they've changed it so they don't need a legally executed deed of assignment. They should have one, but it's not that necessary, whereas in England and Wales, they have to have it under the Law of Property Act.
What if we've got businesses in Scotland? So that has to be an
Doesn't matter.
company?
Doesn't matter. If they're registered in England and Wales, then you can take them to court. And remember, it's going to be Northampton as well anyway. And I've done this because we've dealt with a lot of people, you know, I've got a few members that are in Scotland. So we've had to, like, you know, make sure we file it down to England to make sure they get the right judge.
Because I was wanting to do that against Tesco, but Tesco are headquartered in Glasgow, Tesco Bank. They've also got offices in England. So I was thinking of maybe doing it that way, but I don't know if they'll be able to. I don't know if they're separate legal entities in that respect.
Well, it depends. I mean, they're definitely going to be registered in England as well. You know, but I mean, if it was for Tesco Bank, why would you be doing it to the Tesco Bank?
Because I'm trying to get a loan removed from my credit file.
Right, okay. Yeah. But so it wouldn't really be like on like GDPR was what I mean, a deed of assignment on there, yeah. So with the council as well though, you know, again, if you are like having an argument, shall we say, with the council tax and they're trying to send like the bailiffs and everything like that, you should be sending the council an SAR. and the actual debt collector and SAR. Because remember, they only have 30 days to reply with full compliance, right? Which means everything that they have or that they are processing on you, and do you think that they will do it? 90% of the time they don't do it because they think you're stupid. And they think, why? Oh, you've got that off the internet. Oh, you're wasting me time. And they ignore you. That is a breach. That is a breach. So if they're chasing you for council tax, but they have not given you all the data that you've required or you've requested under Article 15 of GDPR, it's really powerful. As soon as they've done that breach, then you can claim. Right? You can go do that through all the way through. It doesn't matter that you're arguing about council tax. You asked for your data. And if they breach it, right, then you can claim against them. Claim against them and pay the council tax. And then do it every year. You're lucky for it. You're still be in profit. Good one. Any questions?
So if you make it correlate to the thing again, to the supermarkets, let's say one specific supermarket like Asda, which is virtually on its knees, then you can actually place bets on the stock market on the share price going down as well, so you can even bet it out.
Right, okay. That'll be good.
Get these going, but if you can go into administration potentially, the ultimate.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And then government will have to act.
Yeah.
So
but then you
that's how much power you've got. Yeah.
Definitely, but that's the power, it's ours. Yeah, definitely. So, but if everybody got together and got groups, you're all in groups somewhere else, and all of your groups were going, yeah, and just target. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then we can go and get proper shops where you used to go in with your mum and dad and they would drag you around and go to the butchers, bakers and the candlestick makers. Or it used to be. I hated it, but now I want it back. Somebody yeah.
See if, just what you were saying about the right to be forgotten, so if you ask for an SAR and get the data and say, I also want it removed, and then you go back, say 6 months later and say, I was in on January, I want that. If they then supply that information again, does that mean that they've breached GDPR because they haven't removed it?
You can do it, yeah. I mean, if they haven't removed it, then that's another breach of GDPR, a breach of your data, I should say. So, but yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You should be in these big groups, right? And everybody should be going in on a regular basis. If you did it, let's just say 5 people for like making small numbers. So what's 7 5s? All right, 5 you go in, and then it's a different 5 for 7 days, right? And you did it like that, and then you can start repeating it like that, right? This is what we should be doing, and this is going to make them. Right? They're going to I have to get rid of these bloody cameras. This is terrible. This is a nightmare. It's like, we're just like, administration's through the roof. All the work staff are all depressed and it's costing the company a fortune because we can't get all the data out in time, And this is the power that you do have. You can do this.
There's more than a question. It's an idea that we need another app that will automatically send DSARs to Facebook, to every single one, and then it will automatically follow up and do the process.
There you go, you can do that.
I just want to add something about GDPR stuff. It only applies to registered businesses. Okay? You can't go...
So you can't sue your neighbour?
No.
No,
not the neighbour, but you would go after the Ring company, the corporation that owns the doorbell, and you hit them. Okay? Because the Ring doorbell is Wi-Fi, and you've got to have a subscription, and so you go... You're not your neighbour, because if I received a DSAR, I'll go, yeah, whatever. Because it doesn't, I'm not a registered business, so it only applies to registered businesses. DUNS numbers, company numbers. Okay. Company house.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Any other? Sorry, is there a time limit on it? Because council obviously hasn't asked my DSAR.
What do you mean a time limit? Like
30 days on.
But if you do it now, you can do it now, and this is it starts. So if they've got data from a year ago, you can still ask for it now, and your 30 days that they're granted under their act that they have to actually do, that starts from the day that you send it.
No, they just said I was being vexatious, and they asked for ID. So both of those things to block.
But how can they say? I mean, it's actually, if they want to call it law, right? Then it's their law. They made it. We didn't. We didn't invent GDPR or create GDPR, right? Whoever did. And we can use that to our massive advantage.
So I can put the claim in now, or I'll write to the LCO first.
Yeah, just if they've done that and they've told you that you're vexatious, how can you be vexatious when you're actually, and you can read it out. This is Article 15, right? Go to your own website and have a look on Article 15 of GDPR. It says, I am allowed to send an SCR or a subject access request requesting my data. It tells you on there, you know, it tells you on all the websites how to do it, what to do, how long they've got to reply, and then when you can send the second one if they don't. It tells you, you know. So it's like, for them to say vexatious, it's just like, oh, let's say some silly words. It's like, shut up, leave me alone. That's all it is.
What's the protocol if you get a response that you suspect, or maybe even know, that it's only part of the information that will still withholding stuff?
Well, same thing, then you would send a second SCR, say this is not correct, you haven't fulfilled your legal obligations. So if they're going to just say that guy in the shopping centre, if they only showed him walking in, then he could easily go back and say, well look, I was in every single area, the quadrants or whatever they're called, so I want that data as well.
So let's say a credit card company, come away from the video stuff, pictures. So you write to a credit card company and they send you a load of information, but they don't put the whole amount. So for instance, they transfer information when they sold the debt or whatever, because they're trying to hide it. Because they might start thinking, well, no one ever checks all this.
Right. If a credit card company has, like in their words, right, sold the debt, then like the SCR is going to go to whoever's bought it, right? So you're going to you got companies like Cabot, if that's how you pronounce it, right? But like it's how I pronounce it anyway. Like they say that they've purchased the debt and they give you what they call as a notice of assignment. So that's what you would send the SCR to. Don't worry about the credit card company, because once in their eyes, remember that we were talking about before, that they've already got the insurance policy, so they've got all the money back, and you know, you created the credit anyway, so there was never ever an actual loan thing, right? So they've actually just made money hand over fist, and then they've sold the data, right? Let's say it's Barclays, they'll usually sell it to PRA, right? So we know, because somebody in their office, Barclays office, we did this all on video, right? They sent us all the information from Barclays Bank, which shows them that how much they sell it to PRA for, and if they can't enforce it, they refund them. And then they showed them, this is the hilarious bit as well, right? Because as soon as you send an SCR off to PRA group, the first come to go and say, oh, you've got that off the internet, right? Or it's just a template you're using. Barclays send them all templates. Use this one first, use this one next one, third one, fourth one, how to actually like reply to anybody that questions them. Barclays sent us all the information, like, you know, by accident or whatever it was, I don't know why, right? But we got all of that. We did it on video when I was like working with a friend of mine because he was defending the court case instead of going to court with PRA Group. Right, so we want the legally executed deed of assignment under CPR 31.6 full disclosure. So, right, and they wouldn't give it. So once we actually got to the court date, the day before, and they rang up, the court rang up and says you don't have to come in, you've got a default judgment because they haven't supplied the evidence. So what we have to do is, in any case like that, is you ask for the legally executed deed of assignment. Right, so you can quote the Van Lin case law as well, where it's, Lord Denning says you're allowed to see it, under CPR 31.6, which is disclosure, specific document disclosure, and they have to give that documents to the case, and they haven't got it. They haven't got a legally executed deed of assignment. Cabot, they sent out this month, all right, they've applied for them, 68,000 CCJs. Cabot, one company, one debt collecting company, 68,000 CCJs, right? So that's just one debt collector in 1 month. So if you imagine how many people are defaulting on credit card debts and personal loans and everything in the bank. So by law, their law of Property Act 1925, right, Section 136 Part 1, but also in Law of Property Act 1989 miscellaneous provisions, they have to have it signed by the director of the bank, right? And it has to be witnessed by an independent witness. because you can only transfer property in English law by a deed, a legally executed deed. And a debt is intangible property. So they can only transfer it from one party to the other with a legally executed deed. And it needs to be signed and witnessed in proper, like wet ink signatures. So 68,000 by one debt company. So that means that that bank manager is going to be sitting his entire life just signing deeds. Can't do it, it's a physical impossibility. Well, the director of the bank would have to sign it, and he'd have to have it independently witnessed, and then they send it to the debt collector, who then have to sign it. Right? But the first part's never going to happen. No.
Sorry, but we're going to have to cut.
Yeah.
We've gone over an hour.
This is quite important. What about electronic signatures?
It's not a signature.
Can we get that right?
Do you mean? What do you mean? What would you mean about electronic signature?
Everything that's coming for the court, sheriffs and all the rest of it says electronic, even solicitors or lawyers, whatever you want to call them, electronically signed. They want to know, are there anything out there we can use that against them?
Right, but that's got nothing to do with an SER though, has it?
No, but it's a question of...
Yeah, I've never really delved into it, never, you know, only specifically work on my own areas. But anyway.
Thank you. So, well done. Little Wikipedia here, isn't it? You know, they've just got all these, they quote all the dates and numbers and acts, it's amazing.
I've got something to say now.
Breakfast. Have you all had a good day?
Yeah.
Have you learnt a lot?
Yeah.
I know, it's overwhelming. Well, I'm recording this again, so Wise Women Weekdays, that's where you'll find this. And just take a snapshot for the other websites. Anybody come down to Canterbury and see us? Well, possibly? Yeah. October? Great, okay. Lovely. So yeah, so if you haven't put your email address on the list, you know, do so now. I will try and get something together and just let you know what's going on. Thank you, you've been an amazing audience, you know, and Shona was here earlier with her nephew. Shona was the wife of Noreen, and that's why we're here. So we send love and blessings and good luck to him in his endeavour, and you know, good luck with you lot going to all these supermarkets and putting this into action, because it, you know, we've all got to do it. We've got to do it. So safe journey home. Be safe. See it, say, sorted. All right. Good luck.